Let me tell you something before the world gets loud again. Before the doubts crawl back in. You can do it, not in some distant future, not when you're ready, but right now, even in the mess, even in the pain, even if you don't believe it yet. You can do it. And I'm going to tell you why. You see, no one is born knowing how strong they are. We learn it in the fire, in the quiet, in the breakdowns, in the stillness between who we were and who we're becoming. And somewhere along the line between all the noise, the pressure, the expectations, we forget. We forget that we've made it through every single hard day so far. We forget the power that lives in us, not because we're unworthy, but because we've been too busy surviving to notice our own light. So if you're here now, if something in your heart brought you to this message, let me say this loud and clear. You are not here by accident. This is your wake-up call, your permission slip, your quiet moment of truth. You don't have to know the entire path. You just have to take the next step and whisper or shout or cry if you have to. I can do it. Let's pause for a breath together. Inhale, hold, exhale. Now, tell yourself gently, like you're speaking to someone you love, I'm doing my best. I don't have to be perfect to make progress. I'm not behind. I'm on my path. See, part of the reason we struggle isn't because we're weak, but because we've been comparing our story to someone else's highlight reel. We measure our worth in likes, in followers, in how productive we are. But life isn't measured by metrics. It's measured by moments, by grace, by presence, by how deeply we love and how bravely we show up for ourselves. And showing up matters even when no one sees it, even when it's ugly, even when the voice in your head says you're not enough. Let me tell you something about that voice. It's not the truth. It's just the echo of old pain, old patterns, old fears, and the way you begin to change it is by choosing a new truth over and over again. Truth like I'm allowed to be a beginner. My pace is valid. Peace matters more than perfection. This isn't about toxic positivity. This is about radical honesty. It's about standing in front of the mirror, even with all the cracks and scars, and saying, I can do this because I'm still here, because I haven't given up. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you stopped, really stopped, to ask yourself what you actually want? Not what your parents wanted, not what society expects, but you. You see, so many people live their whole lives never asking that question, and that's why they feel stuck, because they're chasing a life that doesn't belong to them. So I want you to pause right now and reflect. What lights you up? What makes you feel alive? What do you think about when the world goes quiet? That's not random. That's your calling whispering. And you have everything you need to follow it, even if all you have is faith the size of a seed. Because faith, like a seed, grows when nurtured. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be faithful. Now let's talk about the days when you feel like quitting. The days when the weight gets too heavy. The ones when you lie in bed staring at the ceiling, wondering if any of this matters. If that's you, I want you to hear me. Rest is not weakness. Crying is not failure. And asking for help is not shameful. You are allowed to be both a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time. And mindfulness. Mindfulness is the tool that brings you back to this moment. Not the past, not the future. Just here. Right here is where the shift happens. Right here is where you choose love over fear. Here is where you breathe. Here is where you rise. And it's not always grand. Sometimes rising means drinking water, taking a walk, calling a friend, saying no without guilt, saying yes to yourself without apology. Those are victories too. So let me ask you again. Who do you want to be? Not what job title, not what role, but what kind of energy do you want to carry? Do you want to be peaceful, grounded, bold, kind? You get to choose. And every time you choose love over fear, truth over comfort, authenticity over performance, you come home to yourself. This isn't the end of your story. Not even close. You're not too late. You haven't missed your moment. You are right on time. For the lesson your soul came here to learn. So take a breath, stand tall, and say it with me one last time. I can do it, not because it's easy, but because it's mine. Because I'm worthy. Because I choose to believe in myself even when it's hard. Even when no one else does. Even when I have to start again. I can do it. And I will. Let's take another breath together. A slow inhale. Hold. And now release everything you've been holding. The pressure, the doubt, that fear. You don't need to carry it all anymore. Right now I want to speak to that part of you that no one sees. The version of you behind the smiles, behind the strength, behind the role you play for others. That part of you that quietly asks, is what I'm doing really enough? Let me answer that. Yes, you are enough. Right now. Not once you lose the weight. Not when you finally get the promotion. Not when you check off all the boxes the world gave you. You are worthy of peace now, of joy now, of love now. So many people believe they need to do more to be more. But your value isn't earned, it's remembered. It's something you were born with, and life just made you forget. But now you remember. And remembering is the beginning of freedom. There's a shift that happens when you stop asking, am I good enough? And start declaring, I am doing my best, and that's enough. It's the shift from proving to simply being, from striving to becoming. And in that shift, you begin to trust your own voice again. You begin to see that you don't need everyone's approval. You just need your own. We spend so much time running from ourselves, running from stillness, from solitude, from silence, but stillness is where truth lives. Stillness is where healing begins. Sit with yourself, even when it's uncomfortable, even when the old pain rises, because on the other side of that discomfort is your power, and your power has always been there, buried beneath the noise, waiting for you to say, I see you, I believe in you, I'm listening now. Let's talk about the past, not to dwell in it but to finally release it. That you are not what happened to you. You are not your mistakes. You are not the moments that broke you. You are the healing. You are the rising. You are the lesson and the light. There is no shame in where you've been. There is only strength in what you've overcome. You can forgive yourself. You can forgive others, not because they deserve it but because you deserve peace. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means you are ready to be free, and freedom begins with the words, I'm done carrying what doesn't belong to me. Life is always changing. That's the only guarantee. And if you try to control every detail, you'll lose the joy of living. So I want to invite you to loosen your grip. Let go of needing to know all the answers. Let go of needing everything to make sense right now. Because the most beautiful chapters in your life will begin the moment you stop forcing things and start flowing with what is. Change is not your enemy. Uncertainty is not failure. It's just life. In motion. You are not meant to stay the same. You are meant to evolve, to unfold, to bloom, again and again. Even in the dark, the seed is becoming. So are you. Now I want to ask you something. If you could write a new story for your life, starting today, what would it say? Would it be a story of healing, a story of peace, of freedom from what has weighed you down for years? You have the pen. You have the page. You don't have to replay the same chapter anymore. You get to rewrite what you believe about yourself, from I'm broken to I'm rebuilding, from I failed to I learned, from I'm not enough to I've always been more than enough. Words matter. Thoughts matter. You are the author of your experience, and the story you tell yourself every day becomes your reality. So tell a story of hope. Tell a story of strength. Tell a story where you are no longer the victim but the hero, rising. And now, here we are. You've made it through this entire journey. You've listened. You've breathed. You've remembered. You didn't come this far just to stop. You came this far to realize what's already inside of you. You are not small. You are not lost. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are shedding layers that were never yours. You are waking up not to a new life, but to who you've been all along. That quiet, powerful truth. You can do it. You already are. So go forward, not with urgency but with purpose, with softness, with trust. Let every step be your declaration. Let every breath be your return. Let every challenge be your teacher. And when life gets loud again, and the fear returns, come back. Here, come back to this space. This breath, this truth. Say it with me one final time. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it.